Hi. I'm having an interesting afternoon here. This will be the third time I have set out to record this journal, and that doesn't often happen. The phone has rung each time, and normally I don't let that bother me, but for whatever reason, things are working out this way, so I'm going to preface this recording with something. Everything, no matter what it is, happens just the way it's supposed to. And everything is talking to us in the happening. Life is much more alive than we take it to be. The mind can't get this, in my opinion, which is only an opinion, okay? But things have meaning, and there's no generalizing that can be done about the meaning of this, that, or the other, like a dream journal where if you see a car in your dream, it means this. If you see a bat, it means that. That's interesting, but I think it's mental, and I don't have much use for it because each one of us has a perspective and a lifetime so different, so unique that it's kind of silly trying to, I mean, even when you say blue, all of us see something different. So I want you to dive deep into heart and try and stay there, at least for this reading. Oh, I want to say something else too. When you find that you set out to do something and things get in your way, don't automatically take it that that's life telling you you shouldn't be doing that. My suggestion is don't have any automatic ways that you take anything, because the automaton in you is the mind and it's not alive. And you can go through life in automatic like that and you're not really living. So this is a journal from November 27th of 2010. It was the fourth journal of that day, Mayan day 3, Serpent. I was still trying to work through the breakup with my close friend, as you'll see. This is in the observation series, Exercises in Vision. I think I need to change that and make it heart vision. It's called Expectations Bite, cleaning them out. And you'll see the growth and development in the writing of the journal. Know that as these journals are written, if you're in heart, you can see what's going on here. It's a real interaction with your inner self. That this kind of interaction is available to you, to all of us in the kingdom of heart. All right, here we go. This heart is hurting some more. Since I find so much relief and often even understanding and other blessings from journaling, here I am to work things out. My close friend is still silent after a number of weeks. That is quite interesting. I'm having to deconstruct my own beliefs. We had, and may still have for all I know, a very special relationship, very close, both being of a spiritual bent or nature. We have so very much in common, and it was a joy to share, to be able to freely share and speak with someone who understands. That's not often found in life, so it was precious to us. Still is, I'm sure. What has happened here, I'm not quite sure. But we're sovereign beings, so I'm not pressuring either myself or her into anything. Rather, we'll let heart work it out. We'll either get together again in this life or hereafter. It's a deep relationship, and those just don't fall over and die. And I'll step in here and say, we used to get together on Skype, and I left her some messages there, and she never logged in. So finally, about once a week for a while, I sent her an email shared a little of what was on my heart with her. Never got a response, not once. Okay, back to the journal. So, what am I finding at the source of the hurt, of the pain? Ah, expectations. That's it. I had expected that since this relationship was so special, and we were both quite aware of that it would last the whole lifetime. First mistake, having expectations. They bite you on the nether side every time, sooner or later. Okay, so I'm adjusting, changing that. I am realizing now that rather than bemoan the possibility that the close contact here is over, it's much more appropriate to be offering praise and thanksgiving for the beauty of the relationship while we had it. That's more appropriate and naturally brings joy instead of the pain of unfulfilled expectations. Now I'm going to step out again and say that is not celebrating the past, because all time is concurrent. And so the beautiful relationship still is. It hasn't gone anywhere. This is the result and the fruit of deconstructing your beliefs around time, that it's any kind of a limit whatsoever. All right, back again. Expectations around others are like ropes that we tie them up with. And now the odd thing about it, though, is that we're tied to the other end of those ropes. Thus, we can weave quite a mess, quite a spaghetti twisted conglomeration of cords that bind us, rather than the beautiful chords of music that elevate and lift the soul. These cords and ropes snare us and burn us when we try to wiggle out. Anytime we think to capture and hold another, the one we capture is only the self. Remember my lovely "these eyes" saying. I just did a video on that. And know that it works both ways. There is no such thing as anyone in your life that isn't you. There is no such thing as anyone in your life that isn't you. If you try to bind them, you bind yourself. We externalize what is inside of us. That's what appears there in the one that's before us. Time to start stepping up to this and looking within for solutions instead of outside. And parenthetically, I've said, and looking within can mean looking within the supposedly other one. No outside solutions to anything will take, will have lasting value, merit, and results, absent the concomitant work on the self or others, other selves involved. Outside is ever and only mirroring us to ourselves. Can we see this? Do we have the courage? Do we love enough to take this plunge into heart? To decode the hologram, the matrix, the fractal image this way? There are many, possibly endless ways to look at things. Let's agree on that at the outset. Thus, whatever views I present are just my own. They don't have to be yours. I'm not suggesting you adopt them. My heart's desire is to be the catalyst for many so that your hearts are touched off by the fire of mine and they guide you your way, not my way. I have something to learn from you, from each and every one that ever contacts my work. I don't care the age or any other category. You have something to teach me. We often get this blessing from each other energetically. That is, we don't even have to meet or exchange comments or greetings or anything. We connect with each other through the heart, through the field, through the portal there. Both are blessed. Higher selves of us know and remember our eternal connection. They exchange the energies that bring on the blessings. The blessings always go both ways. Thus, sometimes when reading or viewing one of these journals, you may have a deep internal experience that you're aware of, or not. The love light flows on the oneness of the one heart that all of us are. Come on now. In our core, we all know that we have the intense desire to be and bring a blessing to the earth, to the people, the animals, the natural life here. We want deeply to make, to be a difference. Well, that is active in us, my friends. It touches each one we contact. If blessings can be brought from that contact, then they just flow. Nothing need be done about it. It just happens. It flows on the wings of our inner intent. And I've got goosebumps. Again, we're taking into account here our expanded being, our higher or inner being as well. We are active in higher dimensions without our conscious awareness. However, as we are waking up more and more, as we are rising in vibration and frequency, come on up there, we are naturally expanding out into more and more of that which I am, that which we are. We all are that. Not only do we expand out into subconscious and unconscious levels, making them more conscious, we also expand out into our own higher consciousness quite naturally. Actually, I would posit that to the extent we're willing to touch the shadow, as Dimitri Halley calls it, or simply own our dark side, to that extent do we expand out into the higher self, into the heavens of self, capital S. Tit for tat, in balance, yin and yang, above and below, balanced and equal expansion. Beautiful. And furthermore, I think I'll put a link into my journal, poised at the center of the cross. Really, Murphy was on to something. Murphy's Law has been stated in many ways, but at its simplest, it states that whatever can go wrong will go wrong. Now, that's a negative, even humorous way to look at whatever is acting there, but as I say, he was definitely on to something. We can see Murphy's Law in action in our life when, for instance, we throw away that old tax form that's been lying around for a number of years. Then, usually within 48 hours, we'll find we need it. It's so funny and so reliable that one could almost make a prediction that something will be needed shortly, simply by having the desire to dispose of it. This points to an almost backwardness of the universe in its operation, the reflective or mirror nature of it. Don't worry about the whys, the wherefores of things, by the way. You're just chasing your tail if you do that. That's a mind or a mental playground. Fun, but it's not offering you anything real. I am seeing more and more that everything is actually beautifully balanced. It's a precision mechanism that goes beyond elegant, the universe. We have the beautiful Tai Chi, the yin-yang symbol, to illustrate this. Thus, to go down into the darker side of the self would seem naturally by this law to open up or activate the brighter side of self, the higher self, as I call it. It makes perfect Murphy sense. I also realize, by the way, that I've read Murphy's Law very narrowly here. Don't trust me here for what that guy really meant. You can Google it to get into that. Moving on. Okay, so I find as I take apart the source of the hurting my heart is enduring, I find the expectations there of a continuing relationship. Now, absent those expectations, would I have any pain now? Possibly. Would it be this intense? Probably not. And I don't think this is unusual at all. So often, when looking closely, when examining pain, and to do that, you have to let yourself feel it. I have found expectations of one sort or another at the root of it. Now, this is a great thing, really. Why is that? Well, because it empowers us. We are in charge of our own expectations, and we can alter or remove them as we wish. And that's what I'm doing here, letting go of these expectations. Sure, it hurts. So what? I don't listen to all the chattering, the mumbling of the mind around this. That does no good. Heart is much wiser than mind ever dreamed of being. So I can safely not pay much attention to mind in this. Okay, so I remove the old expectations for the endlessly enduring relationship. What do I find now? Well, right off, the pain has lessened. No, it's not gone entirely, but I didn't expect it to be. I just know from experience that a good chunk of what's hurting us can be removed when we see and change our expectations around it. So what do I see now? I see the deep love and reverence I have for the wonderful being, the friend. I see the words sovereign being printed over her. And it's clear to me that this is higher self of one or both of us, asking me to leave things alone. Let her be. She too is working things out, and they are no doubt painful as well. It doesn't pay to be too close to people when we or they are working through something painful. Why not? Because of the tendency to project. As we are working through our own pain, we may say something harsh that we wouldn't have said otherwise. We take them for granted, those around us. Forget they're a king, they're a queen in their own right, and so are we. Too close, though, and we tend to forget. As Khalil Gibran said in The Prophet, the oak tree and the cypress grow not in one another's shade. As another, for instance, I drafted a letter to the friend yesterday early. Though it seemed to really say what this heart would want to say, I didn't send it. I just saved it as a draft and put it away. Now, were I younger and less experienced, or living closer in proximity or contact to her, or living in mind, I would have given it to her or sent it. We presume all the time on our loved ones. We take things for granted. We speak too quickly. We're really enmeshed with them, sometimes even codependent, but we're too close to see this. Too much closeness is not a good thing. Oh, this is funny. See, I ad-libbed the Khalil Gibran quote, and here it is. Khalil Gibran said it so beautifully in The Prophet. The oak tree and the cypress grow not in one another's shade. We need to stand tall and alone at times and let the friend or family member do the same. Told you I completely forget what I've said the next day, much less months later. Okay, so I wondered, as I finished my draft letter to her, whether, after sleeping on it, I would send it. I really didn't know. That's something that's important too, to recognize how our emotions are coloring the moment, the now. We are deeply into what we are feeling just then, and that might not be the best overall thing to do, whatever the impulse is there. Best to sleep on such things, in my view. So, before I even awoke the next day, sometime in the night, I awoke with the realization that it was good I had not sent the letter. I just knew with heart knowing. Later, as I looked at that, I realized that what that letter had been really was just my journaling. I was working through my own stuff in it, and the friend didn't need to be burdened with my process. That was strictly up to me as a sovereign being to deal with. Higher self will show us these things if we are patient, if we can listen. It's so difficult, it seems, here in 3D to have any patience. We want everything, every understanding, right here, right now. If we think we can either get it or advance it in some way, we're just eager to do that. This also comes of too much closeness. We take the ones near to us for granted, not giving them their space, their freedom, their own sovereignty. And this is also a good example of what I talk about when I keep saying step back, step back, step back. Step back from this closeness. Oh, what a delightful challenge this life is. It is fraught with such blessings, such challenges, such pain-wrapped gifts of such beauty. It's truly amazing, my friends, what a little restraint can bring into the life. It's really mind that is being restrained here. Can you see that? It's mind that always thinks it knows just what to do, how to rescue the day. Unfortunately, that's what adolescence is, for as that makes it a very painful time this transition to adulthood. We cannot be convinced not to follow our impulses. They just seem so right to us then. Perhaps there's no way of knowing, of learning restraint, except through the pain of charging ahead, the proverbial bull in the china shop. Not a good combination. Tender things, tender feelings, and the bull-headed will to just plow ahead. Still, we reap the benefit of those hard-won lessons later in life. When we're in pain, especially, they stand us in good stead, for that pain could drive us to act, to speak, to charge ahead without deeper heart reflection. Distance is good. Respect is good. Both respect for the self and for self in and as the other. Let's have ultimate faith in the heart of us. In my heart, in the friend's heart, in all hearts, we can have faith in higher self working there. We are blessed, truly blessed, to have friends on the spiritual path with us, for they have more access to heart. They are at least listening, at least hearing the heart call. That's what the spiritual path is all about, answering the call. It's more challenging, of course, if we have, let's say, family or friends who are more worldly than spiritual, and most of us do. We can remember back to when this was perhaps true of us and see how very silent the inner voice was at that time. Well, it only seemed to be silent. It was just mind's ruckus that drowned it out. But we didn't know that then. It might just as well have been silent for all we heard it. So, what is left of this pain? Heart is still heavy with it, but the tears are gone, at least for now. It appears that some pain comes in layers like this. We face what we can in the now. Thank God it doesn't all dump on us at once. Much better, this layering. And that's what time is for, my friend. We get a good breathing space in between. The point isn't to be free of the pain. That would still be running from it. We must be content to be hurting like this. Know you can take it, my friends. Remember, we are God and God is here. We are the great I am. Thinking less of the self leads to more pain, trial, and trauma than is really there. We invent most of it in the mind. That's my hunch. We have silly subconscious programming that says we deserve to suffer, we're unworthy, or other such nonsense. So much of our pain is self-generated by our beliefs. Now, this isn't good. It isn't bad. It just simply is. By observing, self-observing, and staying centered in heart, we're on to this stuff. It's brought before us to see. That's why it comes up. If we're not alert this way, then we get the pain without the gain that's there. We invent extra heartache and turn away from the real blessing that's there all along. So, I'm being willing to walk around in this pain, with it as a companion for a while, as long as it takes. It will fade. Come on. We all know the only constant is change. We need fear nothing, for we can handle what comes, and it's nice knowing that change is always on the way. If something seems to be lasting for too long, well, heart will tell us that as well. Heart will help us look and see what is prolonging it. We just have to be watching and listening in heart. Have faith in heart, my friends. You can relax deeply, knowing the beauty of your heart, how things work. All of cosmos is founded on love, capital L. It's only mind who runs away, you know. At heart, we're all spirit warriors. We wouldn't be here otherwise, afraid of nothing. With deep inner knowing that the foundation of all life is love, we can rest deeply in that, there within heart. We can trust. We really can. So, it's okay if we hurt. It's okay not to run from it. Just know there's love inside there, somewhere, somehow. If you know it, if you rest in and have faith in this, that makes it easier to see. This is one of the highest and holiest beliefs to base your reality on. To my way of understanding, this is founded in absolute reality. Okay, because of the background interference, excuse me, I'm going to reread that last little bit. So, it's okay if we hurt. It's okay not to run from it. Just know there's love inside there somewhere, somehow. If you know it, if you rest in and have faith in this, that makes it easier to see. This is one of the highest and holiest beliefs to base your reality on. To my way of understanding, this is founded in absolute reality. And that may be ridiculous, but that's how I see it. We can't know this, of course, just yet. Maybe not even until complete awakening, if there is such a thing. Well, until full reconnection of all 12 strands of DNA. I don't know. I don't much care. I have an inner reliance on this that is so solid. That's all I know. So I share it with you. Check it out for yourself, of course. Check everything out. Make it your own. No secondhand teachings for you. You have your own inner knowings to uncover, to find. You are divinity there. You really are. You don't need this at second hand. You've got the real thing on board. So I'll meet you in heart, and we'll have tea and biscuits and have a chat. Love and light we are. Love is us. No subject, no object. The verb just to be. Love is us. That approaches reality much closer than anything else. Good day.